Hi everybody. Ever since I was a kid, I had a death wish. I never saw the point of living. I always had an empty heart and a hole in my chest. I can remember even since 10, 12 years old that I was laying in the grass or in the forest we had outside our flat where I was living, looking up to the stars and wondering what the hell I'm doing here. Never felt right in anywhere. I never been bullied, but I never belonged anywhere either. It's been a very lonely journey. There, where I was growing up, it's in a suburban area. I'm, how do you say, an asphalt, no, that's Swedish really, asphalt child. Anyway, grown up in the concrete, so to speak, and there was a lot of children and we were playing, we had a lot of fun, but I never had a best friend, never had. And so it was a lonely journey for me. I was always insecure. When I finally found some friends in school, and if they were sick, I was totally alone. And I don't believe other people saw me like this, but me personally, within myself, felt very insecure. And because I didn't belong in a gang, I didn't have a best friend, it felt like I was just floating around, no one really likes you, no one really wants to be with you, and you can be there if there's lack of anybody else, so to speak. So my upbringing was very lonely, even though I have a good home that I come from. I spoke as my father was my hero, and he's always been taking care of me and driving me to different occasions and the sports I was doing and all sorts of things, but lonely. I always felt lonely and never belonged. And I can remember still today, in I think it was 8 or 9 degrees, we was doing a ski tour and we was going downhill with the skis, and it was a whole day, and all the children at the school was gathered in a bus and went there, and I found a new friend, and suddenly that friend had other friends, and I was invited to what you call a place where all the youth children are hanging around, and for the first time I felt I got friends and I belonged somewhere, as good as you can be. But it was a good time in my life, and for the first time I wasn't totally solemn and lonely, and it was a good thing. I still didn't feel I belong properly anywhere. And because I don't belong anywhere, you look for the happiness outside yourself. I used to make a joke and I say that, yeah, I've been married for the 3rd time. And yes, my 3rd time was the best. Still living with him, still marrying or married to him, and we've been together for 20 years. But before I met him, I really looked for the happiness outside myself. So I never forget, I was working in a place for Bofors, and it's a company in Sweden who doing weapon. I know, very spiritual, not. But when you are 15, you're finishing school, you just want a job. And so I was doing German tank mines for a very long time. And yeah, I know it sounds horrible, but I never thought about it. I was sitting on a band, 25 different women, and every break we changed the position and we did different things. Put screws in here, drilled here, and then we moved. And it was actually a very happy time because you didn't have to think. And not only that, it was very well paid. And the only thing you lived for was the weekend, when you could go out and have a party, have a dance, have fun, be flirty, And I remember I met my first really proper boyfriend when I was about 15, 16. I think it lasted for about 2 years. And when I met my first proper boyfriend, where I have my oldest child with, it lasted about 7 years. And the next relationship lasted about 7 years as well. That one I got married to. And after 7 years, I remember it so clearly when I got to marry him and met him, and I thought that I'm not really right up here. There's something missing. I'm not happy. Nothing is really pleasing me properly. But I thought, if I just put my mind straight and tell myself, this is how it's going to be, this is going to work, it will work. And it did for 7 years again. And then I got fed up and I realized he was not the one who brought me joy. Nothing wrong with him, the kindest man in the world. I had nothing bad to say about him, but I wasn't happy. So it's easy when you fall in love, because then you forget your emptiness within your heart. You're living in that little bubble and you're happy. And it usually lasts for so long if you don't find yourself. So we split up as well after about 7 years. And the good thing with him is that his stepfather, my ex-father-in-law, he was the one who brought me down to the spiritual society where I was living. And it's really strange, because even before I met him, I worked with his mother's sister. And when she talked about this man, I knew he's the one for me. Without even met him or seen him, I just knew it. So I found out that he's going to be in town in a place where there's a dance, and rest is history. But like I said, 7 years, that's it. But I think it was meant to be. I really believe so. I got the most beautiful son from that relationship. He's the kindest, most loving child there is. And it also brought me into spiritualism, where I met my ex, of course, the second one I married. And when I found him, I don't really think I was in love with him in retrospect. I think I actually was in love with the idea of what he could bring to me. I think he was the one, because he was having, or he had all the answers. He had everything that my soul needed, and my soul needed spirituality. So yeah, that was 10 years of anxiety and a lot of bullying, and yeah, he abused me in every way you can imagine. But what hurt me most was the psychological abuse. I mean, when you get hit, that's nothing. But the mental and the psychological abuse, that is a really hard one to heal from, and it took me many, many years. But I also learned through that horrible marriage that I have to stop looking outside myself for the happiness, because what I was actually trying to find was my own soul, my own spirit. Because when you find yourself, when you find your own soul, your own spirit, a peace appears. It's a loving feeling where you finally, for the first time, actually, well, maybe I belong somewhere. Maybe I am worthy. Even if it took a lot of years to realize that, and especially after everything that happens with him. So when I met the third man, my husband I live with now, Per, his name is, he's the most beautiful man there ever is. And I'm so thankful for him, because he could have wrapped me around his little finger when I met him, because I was so broken from my ex-marriage. But I remember I heard him telling his friend once that I want Mia to be strong, and I want her to be herself. And I was quite angry when I met him, because I was expecting his help in a lot of things. You know, with my ex-husband, I couldn't even send an email, because I have to have his approval that I've done things right. And when I answer some emails or done something, I'd like to ask my husband, what do you think? And he said, it's yours, Mia. You've been writing it. You decide. And I was so angry, because why can't he tell me if it's okay or not? But like I said, I want you to trust in yourself. I want you to be yourself. So yeah, there are a lot of sayings. You can kiss a lot of frogs till you find your prince, and so on. And yes, I did. But what really was missing was spirituality, and to see myself, my soul, my spirit, and my journey, not everybody else's journey. And that makes a huge difference in your life. I have been lost. I've been sad. I've been through all the emotions, really, of not feeling good enough with myself, not feeling good enough with others, maybe I'm a shitty person, you know, all sorts of things. You know, when you dislike yourself from inside out, it's not a very nice feeling. And it's not very nice to go through life with that feeling. So it's taking me a lot of brainwashing, talk to myself, look myself in the mirror, telling me that I am good enough, I am beautiful, I'm perfect as I am, I can't change myself, so accept who you are and love yourself for who you are. And yeah, it's easier said than done. It takes years, and in all honesty, I still every day work with my mind. Every day I have to work with myself to actually say to myself that I am good enough. It is a beautiful world. And I also been through quite a lot of shit in my life and health-wise. So it's been hard. So therefore the mind is even more important, to empower that one, the mind over matter, to realize how a huge difference it makes if you believe in yourself, if you tell yourself that you're worthy and start to believe it eventually. Because life is beautiful and we should appreciate every day, every week, every month, every year we have. Because in all honesty, it goes too quick. It really goes too quick. For me, who have had a death wish, and suddenly I don't want to go home. I wish I had 250 years ahead of me so I can do different scenarios of things I've only been dreaming of. So please, don't be afraid of life. Live it, love it, enjoy it, and more than anything, realizing that you are worthy, realizing that you belong, realize that you are perfect and unique as you are. Bye.